All right, so we're diving into AI today, specifically how it can change the game for all of us public servants.
Absolutely.
I mean, just imagine using cutting-edge tech to make our decisions, well, better, more efficient, and fairer for everyone across Canada.
Yeah, making a real difference.
That's exactly what we're going to unpack today. We're exploring how Canada is using AI, especially for those everyday administrative decisions.
Right.
Things like processing applications or allocating
I mean,
resources.
this is kind of stuff we do every day.
Exactly. And get this, we're not just going to skim some boring policy, Doc. We're going deeper, uncovering the really cool stuff about how the Canadian government is approaching AI responsibly.
That's what's really fascinating to me, how Canada is leading the charge,
Yeah.
in using AI responsibly in public service.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about decisions that impact people's lives every single day.
Yeah, for sure.
And AI can really help us make those decisions more driven by data,
Yeah.
while still making sure things are fair,
Right.
transparent, and accountable.
Okay. Yeah. I'm already intrigued. So let's talk about this directive on automated decision-making. It's been issued by the Canadian government.
Yes.
Sounds official. But what's it really mean for us? Like us on the ground?
Well, think of it as like a set of guidelines for how government agencies can use AI for decision making.
Okay.
And the most important thing to remember, using AI, it isn't just about speed and efficiency.
Got it.
It's about guaranteeing fairness, transparency, and accountability.
Okay, that makes sense. But let's get real for a sec.
Oh.
Is AI actually being used in public service right now? Like right now?
Oh, absolutely. It's already happening in so many ways.
Oh, wow.
Like, just imagine streamlining visa applications or tackling tax fraud.
Right.
Even predicting when our city infrastructure needs maintenance to keep things running smoothly.
Wow, that's incredible. But I have to ask, what about bias? Can we really trust AI to make fair decisions? And what about human oversight? I mean, does this mean robots are taking over our jobs?
Yeah, those are valid questions. And actually, the directive addresses them directly.
Okay.
So let's talk about this thing called the Algorithmic Impact Assessment, or AIA.
Right.
It's a really crucial tool. It helps us spot potential biases and risks before an AI system is even put into action. Like, think of it as a safety net built right into the system.
So it's kind of like a check and balance.
Exactly.
To make sure the AI is actually making fair and equitable decisions.
Right.
I like it. But what about transparency?
Yeah.
People deserve to understand how decisions are being made.
Yeah.
Especially if it's, if it's by AI and it affects them.
You're absolutely right. And the directive really emphasizes the importance of clear explanations, for AI-driven decisions. Just imagine being denied a benefit and having no clue why.
Yeah.
That's not just frustrating, right?
Right.
It also erodes trust in the entire system. So plain language explanations,
Right.
those are key to keeping the public informed and confident.
Yeah. Transparency is definitely key. But at the end of the day, human judgment shouldn't be totally replaced, right?
Exactly. The directive is very clear on this. Even with super sophisticated AI, there needs to be room for human intervention. So think of situations where that human touch is needed, to make sure things are fair, or to consider those unique circumstances that an algorithm might miss.
Okay.
So it's about finding the right balance between that power of AI and that, irreplaceable value of human judgment.
Yeah, it's a team effort, not a replacement. Okay, I think I'm ready to get into the technical stuff a little bit. Let's talk about these impact levels
Yes.
that are outlined in the directive.
Uh-huh.
This is where it gets a bit complex, but it's super relevant to, all of our work as public servants.
Absolutely. So the directive actually breaks it down into 4 impact levels.
Okay.
So level I decisions, those are, they have minimal impact, like something that's easily reversible in short term. Level 2, that signifies a moderate impact. It's still reversible, but, maybe a bit longer lasting. Level 3, this is high impact, something that might be hard to reverse and could have ongoing effects.
Right.
And lastly, level 4. That's reserved for very high impact decisions. So the kind that are irreversible and have, potentially perpetual impacts.
Wow. Okay, so it's like a sliding scale of impact.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm guessing the requirements for using AI kind of change depending on what level we're talking.
You got it. Appendix C of the directive, it outlines how these requirements become more stringent as you go up the levels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let me take a look at this. Appendix C. It seems that things like peer review, gender-based analysis plus,
Yes.
notifying citizens about the AI's involvement, even the level of approval needed.
Yeah.
It all gets more intense as the potential impact of the AI system rises.
That's exactly right. So, for instance, like a level I decision, that might not need any peer review at all. But a level 4D decision, that could need approval from, the highest levels of government.
Makes sense. So it's all about making sure that the level of scrutiny matches the level of potential impact.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Now, with all this talk about, AI and data, we can't forget about data security.
Absolutely.
It's like the elephant in the room.
Yeah. The directive is incredibly specific about needing strong data governance and security measures in place. After all, we're talking about sensitive information, right?
Mm.
And protecting that information from unauthorized access or misuse, that's absolutely critical.
And this isn't just about following the rules.
Right.
This is about building trust
Exactly.
with Canadians. If people don't feel like their data is safe, they're not going to use any government service, especially if it involves AI.
You're absolutely right. Trust is built on demonstrating responsible data management practices, and that's precisely what this directive aims to do.
Okay, so this is all fantastic information. I bet our listeners are wondering, okay, but how does this actually apply to my work?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, and
yeah.
it's something we're going to explore in part 2 of this deep dive. We're going to be getting into specific examples of how AI is already being used across, all different areas of public service.
Okay, I'm excited. Stay tuned, everyone, because in part 2, we're getting even more practical.
Yeah.
And exploring how you can harness the power of AI to make a real difference.
Real difference.
In the lives of Canadians.
Yes. Welcome back to our deep dive into AI and public service. Last time we were looking at the directive on automated decision-making.
Yes.
And how it's really making sure AI is implemented responsibly across the Canadian government.
It was super fascinating. I'm ready to see it in action, though, like in our world.
Yeah.
The day-to-day of public service. How's this directive actually shaping how we use AI?
This is where things get really exciting, actually.
Oh.
We're seeing this wave of innovation across different government departments, all driven by, those principles laid out in the directive.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me some examples.
Okay, let's start with something that affects a lot of Canadians. Taxes. So the Canada Revenue Agency, they're using AI, specifically these machine learning algorithms, to detect patterns and anomalies in tax filings.
Okay.
That might point to, fraudulent activity.
So the AI is like a digital detective, sniffing out those who try to slip through the cracks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. But how can we be sure that it's not, making false accusations? I mean, fairness is so important.
Absolutely. And that's where, the directive's emphasis on transparency and explainability really comes in. So CRA has built these systems that can not only identify potential fraud,
Right.
but also provide really clear explanations for why a filing has been flagged.
So it's not just, this mysterious black box
Right.
making judgments. There's an actual rationale behind the AI's decisions, which is, that's so essential for maintaining public trust.
Yeah.
And making sure everything is, accountable.
It is. And this approach, it's not just limited to taxes. Think about healthcare.
Oh, okay.
Imagine a system that uses AI to analyze medical images, so like x-rays or scans,
Right.
to help doctors detect diseases earlier and, more accurately.
That could be a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
Earlier diagnosis, that often means better outcomes for patients.
Exactly.
What about those really unique cases, the ones that an algorithm might just miss?
Right. So remember, the directive really emphasizes human oversight.
Yes.
So in healthcare, AI can be like this really powerful tool to support those medical professionals.
Yeah.
But the final diagnosis, the treatment plan, those still rest with the doctors.
It's all about finding that synergy, right?
Yeah.
Between AI's strengths and the expertise of human professionals.
Absolutely. And here's another example that's, a little closer to home. For many public servants,
Okay.
using AI to improve internal processes and services within, government departments.
Ooh, I like this. Tell me more.
Okay, so imagine AI-powered chatbots that can answer employee questions about HR policies or IT issues, freeing up time for HR and IT staff. so they can focus on, more complex tasks.
Okay. Yeah.
Or think about AI systems that can analyze, these large data sets
Hmm.
to identify patterns and trends that can then like inform policy decisions.
Those are some really practical applications. It sounds like AI could really help streamline a lot of these internal processes
Yes.
and free up public servants to actually focus on, the more impactful work,
Absolutely.
stuff that really matters.
Yes.
But I have to ask about, the elephant in the room. Will AI take away our jobs? I mean, that's the big question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's understandable to have those concerns about job displacement. But actually, history shows us that technological advancements, they often change the nature of work, but they also create, new opportunities.
So it's not about being scared of the future.
Right.
It's about adapting to it,
Exactly.
being open to those new possibilities.
Absolutely. And that's where upskilling and continuous learning become crucial for all public servants. I mean, we need to embrace the potential of AI.
Yeah.
And develop the skills to work alongside it effectively.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
AI is not a threat. It's a tool
Yeah.
that can empower us to
Exactly.
do our jobs better
Yeah.
and serve Canadians more effectively.
Absolutely. And there are even more inspiring examples out there. Like, think about using AI to personalize learning experiences for students.
Oh, wow.
Or to create, smarter, more sustainable cities.
This is all so exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't help but think about the potential downsides, though. The ethical stuff, the risks when it comes to using AI,
Yeah.
especially when we're dealing with sensitive information
Yeah.
and people's lives.
Yeah.
We talked about bias before,
Right.
but I'm sure there are other concerns too, right?
You're right. As with any powerful technology, there are potential risks that we need to address proactively. And that's exactly what we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, so welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into AI in public service. It's been a lot, hasn't it?
It really has.
I mean, we've seen some incredible examples of how AI is already being used to make our jobs more efficient, improve those services for Canadians, even tackle complex issues like fraud.
Yeah, it's remarkable how AI is transforming the whole landscape of public service. But like we were saying before, we got to approach it carefully. This tech is powerful.
For sure.
So a balanced perspective is crucial. We need to, be aware of the risks and those ethical considerations just as much as we're, celebrating the benefits.
Exactly. We can't just blindly embrace AI without really thinking about how it impacts society.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of those risks and ethical concerns. What are the things that we should be mindful of as, public servants working with or even considering these AI solutions?
I think one of the biggest challenges is fairness, making sure these AI systems are used fairly and equitably.
Yeah, for sure.
I've talked about bias, but I mean, it's such a critical issue, it's worth repeating.
Absolutely.
Even with the best intentions, AI algorithms can accidentally perpetuate existing societal biases if they're trained on biased data.
So we need to be really careful about the data we use. It's like that saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
If the AI is trained on bad data, it'll give us bad results.
Yeah.
But how do we even know? How do we identify these biases?
Yeah.
Especially when they could be, really subtle.
That's where the algorithmic impact assessment comes in.
Oh, right. The AIA.
Yeah. It's a really powerful tool. Helps us scrutinize the data used to train the AI, identify those potential sources of bias, and come up with strategies to mitigate them.
It's like a bias detective then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Helping us make sure those AI systems are fair, impartial. And the directive, it also stresses transparency and explainability, right?
Right. Citizens deserve to know how these decisions are made, especially when it's algorithms making those decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, black box AI systems, the ones that work without any transparency, those just erode public trust.
For sure.
Can even lead to, feelings of disempowerment. So we need to ensure that the AI systems used in public service are, open and accountable.
It's like, imagine being judged by a secret court. You have no idea what the rules are.
Right.
No way to appeal the decision.
Exactly.
That wouldn't fly in our justice system. So it shouldn't fly with AI either. So how do we make these AI systems more transparent, more understandable?
Yeah.
For, the average person.
Well, there are a few ways we can try to explain things clearly, plain language, how the AI works, what factors it looks at when it's making a decision. Another way is we can create tools that allow people to actually visualize how the AI got to a certain outcome
So it's about giving people a look behind the curtain,
Exactly.
helping them understand the AI's logic.
Uh-huh.
But even with that transparency, there's still the question of accountability.
Yeah,
Like, who takes the blame if the AI messes up?
that's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's something that, legal experts and policymakers are still figuring out. AI systems, they're tools.
Right.
And like any tool, they can be used for good or for bad. The responsibility, ultimately, it lies with the humans who design them, deploy them, oversee them.
So we don't blame the robot. We hold the people who made the robot accountable. And that's why the directive, it stresses human oversight, right?
Right.
We need humans involved
Yes.
to make sure AI is used ethically and responsibly.
Absolutely. Human oversight is crucial to catch those potential errors, see the unintended consequences, and make sure, really, that those AI systems align with our values,
Yeah.
our goals as public servants. It's about, finding that balance, AI capabilities and human judgment.
It's a partnership, not a takeover. AI can help us make things better, help us make better decisions.
Yeah.
But it should never replace human judgment, empathy,
Rrr.
or our dedication to Canadians.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And I think it brings us to a key takeaway for everyone listening today. As public servants, you're the ones on the front lines of this whole technological revolution. You have the power to shape how this all unfolds, how AI is used to serve everyone. So embrace the potential, but do it with a critical eye and stay committed to those ethical principles.
It's about asking the hard questions, demanding that transparency, and never forgetting that tech should be a tool to help people, not control them. The future of AI is, well, it's in our hands. Let's make it a future we can all be proud of.
Huh.
And that wraps up our deep dive into AI in Canadian public service. I hope this has given you some things to think about.
It's been great exploring this with you.
And for our listeners, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged in this whole conversation about how we can use AI to build a better future for all Canadians.